WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, tasting very rare whiskey. That's what the box says. Midleton, very rare. Barry Crockett Legacy 2021 bottling. So, first of all, you get to have this nice little packaging here. It's a box. So, let's open the box here. Am I opening in the right direction? Let's say I am. So, you open the box, and you have this sack that the box is in. I mean, come on, guys and girls, this is fantastic, right? So, and then we have the nice little, oops, wrong side. Let's turn it around. Let's do an uncovering. Ooh, looky here. All right, very rare. So, trying to do this as unelegant as possible. So, just fabric. So, what do I have here? I have a beautiful, beautiful box of carpentry. If it looks like it's cherry wood, it might be real, it might not. I'm not really sure. Now, to be very honest, if I'm going to pay a lot of money and I get this little blotch on the side, I would not be happy as a collector. But hey, that's just me. Very, very well done, very well manufactured. Even brass hinges here, or copper, I guess it would be probably here. So you open it up. Magnets, of course, boom, 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 like a nice little box here as it should be. You have here the nice certificate. You have the bottle, which I'm going to pull out. And there's something else I just don't get. All right, do you see this up here? It's almost as if they made the box the wrong size. I don't know about you, but I'm paying for a highly exclusive, very rare thing, and I get a tiny little bit of a botched box here, but that's, hey, just me and my personal opinion. Very, very, whoops, got to do it the right way. Wow, Jason, very embarrassing. All right, so, now the question is, what did I pay for this? All right, first of all, let's open the bottle. I just did that in my German video. I was a little bit almost, it was anticlimactic, the cork. I was expecting ceramic or metal and so on, but no, just normal cork with wood on it, nothing special there. So, this is the Barry Crockett. It's not the very rare Midleton. And that means that I have 46% and I have single pot still. Yay! So, I have this tiny, tiny, tiny little thing here. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let's see if we can pull this in here. So you can now, it's focusing, you can read 0515, and beside that in the tiny, tiny little thing, it says MSPS 21. That 21 is what we need to have here. I don't think they could actually legally write anything smaller than that on the bottle, but they did. All right, so now the very rare is a mix of single grain as well as single malt, maybe pot still as well. I'm going to read up at that in a moment. That video will be coming very soon. That's the next one I'm going to do, but this is the single pot still, which I think is fantastic. So in the nice little book here, we have Barry Crockett. There's not many people that worked for 50 years in the Irish whiskey industry, and there's not even less people that said, I was born in the distillery I worked in for 50 years. So it says here, basically, where was it here? So few people are born into a job, and fewer still can say that they were born where they work. Master Distiller, Barry Crockett has both distinctions. Born in the distiller's cottage that sits on the grounds of the Midleton Distillery. He has been immersed in the art of whiskey distilling for almost 50-some years. All right, very good. His father was a distiller. He took over, did it for 50 years. Brian Nation was there for a long time, and then they switched the distillers, the master distillers, very quickly at Midleton, which was a little bit of a shame. And you have here some information about Midleton. You have the possibility of your own tasting notes. Very high class, very, very exclusive, very decadent. That's going to be the word I'm going to use today for this and the other bottle I'm going to pull out in a second, decadent. All right, so this is Whiskybase number 191958. I paid, believe it or not, 179 euros for this. Now, if I go to www.midletonveryrare.com. They are selling this bottle online now for 259 euros. And I have another, no, it's 265, I'm sorry, 265. And I have another website also in Germany that's selling it for 299. So I think 120 some euros difference between the same bottle from the same producer in the same country is way too much. Someone somewhere is doing something wrong. Either where I bought it, WhiskyZone.de over here is way too low. Hope not. Or the other places are way too high. Probably that's the case. All right, so what am I going to compare it to? I'm going to compare it to my whiskey that I love at Christmas time, Redbreast, 21 years old. I used to think this packaging was overkill. I had no idea that that Midleton can do so much better. So you actually have here the wood box, you have the bottle here, you have a nice little magnet closes. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Now, let's put this over here a little bit that way, that way, that way. Good. Now, I paid 150 euros for my 21-year-old. Now, the people in America, they go, oh, 150 euros? I would have bought a truckload. I'm sorry, I did not buy a truckload. I did buy a case, but I did not buy a truckload. All right, so my case is almost over now. I shared this whiskey, one of the most asked for whiskeys here when I do a bottle share is, Jason, can you put 5 CL or 10 CL into the package here with the Redbreast 21? Because this is the whiskey I love the best. This is one of the very few whiskeys I've given an A+ to, and time and time and time again. This is the whiskey that I just kind of try again and again at Christmas or whenever I have a birthday or a special occasion whiskey, and I just kind of go, now I remember. That's why it's an A+. This must be the best whiskey I've had in my life almost, or is one of the best whiskeys of my life. I adore this whiskey. This is decadence. Decadent. Decadent for me is not something that's disintegrating. It's something where it's so good that I did not know I needed it, and I always go back to it again because it's like, oh, I can live without it. Did not even know it existed. I tried it. It's like, oh, I would give my left little finger to have another bottle of this sometimes. All right. So very, very good stuff. So question of the day is, what is your very special bottle? What do you go back to time and time again? What is for you your Christmas Day bottle? What is for you your special celebration bottle? What is the bottle that you just have to have once or twice a year and just... That's this for me. All right. I love this. And it's cheaper than this. Now, what's the main difference between these two? They are both made at Midleton in Ireland. They're both from Irish whiskey distillers. So Pernod Ricard. They are both triple distilled single pot whiskey. This is matured for 21 years. This has an OH statement. Boo. This is Oloroso sherry as well as bourbon casks. This is only bourbon casks and unseasoned American. Now, I have a problem here. If anyone's from Midleton listening, I would like to have a suggestion. Now, if something is an ex-bourbon cask, I know it's a charred cask. That's very important. All right. It's usually toasted beforehand. Doesn't have to be, but it's charred. Unseasoned American oak means it could be charred. It means it could not be charred. It means it could be toasted. It means it could not be toasted. It means it could be heavily toasted and lightly charred. It means it could be heavily charred and lightly toasted. So I have over 8 different variations for this one cask that it could be. And I still don't know what it is. All right. So if you just say it's an unseasoned American barrel, give us geeks a tiny little bit more information. Often, all right, at least over here in Germany where I live, now I know from the wine industry and also from the whiskey industry that if we have a virgin oak American cask, it's going to almost always be toasted. Was this toasted? Yes or no? And the next thing we would really like to know is maybe the percentage of the unseasoned as well as the first fill bourbon casks. And the last thing we really want to know, and that's me personally, is, hey, put an age statement on a whiskey over 250 euros. The same thing goes for your very rare. All right. Sorry. You do it with 12-year-old, you do it with a 15-year-old, you do it with a 21-year-old, you do it with your very rare cask with 27 and Redbreast and so on, 28. Why can't you put an age statement on this stuff? Now you're going to stone me. I don't care. This is my personal opinion, all right? I have the feeling that that Midleton, the Irish whiskey distillers here, actually just created a ultra super premium brand, Midleton Very Rare, and they did not, I'm sorry for saying this, they did not put their best whiskeys in it. I was very disappointed from the Very Rare. I'm going to try it with the 21 versus this. I'm not over exuberant about this one either. I love this. This is the A plus whiskey. This is not an A whiskey. My personal opinion. It's more expensive. You have more of a presentation and so on. You have more of the luxurious moment. This was made for people who want to put some money on the table and say, take my money, give me something that looks good and hopefully tastes good. But I would say buy this instead because it not only looks good, but it tastes excellent. All right, personal opinion. All right, good. Enough of my ranting and raving about Midleton Very Rare, Barry Crockett, as well as normal. Now, on the nose, I do get that that very typical American oak toasted moment. I get some interesting pot still fruit spices and fruit and spices towards the end. But the entire time I'm smelling this, it's just like, this isn't 12, 18, 21 years old. This is younger. There's some younger stuff in here. There's a lot of pepper in here, which I do not want as a highly, highly expensive gift packaging here. I want something to massage my taste buds and for me to afterwards go more. And that's what happens here with the Redbreast 21. That fruit spice, that sherry moment, that deep dark chocolate, that pot still spice. There's a lime in here that's just beautiful. This is the pinnacle, for me personally, the pinnacle of the Irish whiskey industry. Now, the Irishman 17-year-old single cask is in the same league. But it's so impossible to get over here that I will not consider it to be actually equivalent. This is something, if I dig deep enough into my pocket and willing enough to put some money on the table, I can get this almost every day of the week, someplace here in my country. Good stuff. All right, let's try this. 46%, single pot still, 21, no age statement, 150, 179. So let's call this 159, 179. That is a magnificent difference here between the sherry and the American only. Okay, the Midleton Very Rare series has been there since 2011, at least with the Barry Crockett. And I must admit, it's not a bad whiskey. It's really a good whiskey. It's a B whiskey. I'll tell you why in a moment. This is just so much better. Now, if you really want to have a differentiation between sherry style and bourbon style, these two would be the ones you have to get, all right? They say themselves on the MidletonVeryRare.com website, this pinnacle of the single pot still range, Midleton of Barry Crockett Legacy, marked the first time since John Jameson that an Irish whiskey distiller's product, Irish whiskey distillers exactly, has been named after a master distiller. Single pot still whiskey is unique to Ireland in general and to the Midleton Distillery, County Cork in particular, and is regarded as the quintessential style of Irish whiskey. Midleton, you no longer have you are not the only ones producing single pot still anymore. It's like Talisker used to say, the only distillery on the island of Skye. Had to change the bottle. A little bit of lime in here. Cheers. For me, and for my decadent, there's too much pepper here. It's too young. It's not what I want and expect from a super ultra premium product. All right. There's a little bit of that vanilla. There is that pot spice moment. There is here the pepper in there. There is a little bit of lime going on here. It's a B product. It's not an A plus. It's not a B plus. It's not a B minus. It's a B product here. Value for money, more of a C minus. So someone recently said, Jason, I don't understand your scoring system. It was a C plus and you liked it. Why? Okay. A, why haven't you bought it? B, buy it. I very rarely give A and Bs. They're very seldom. I think I give A's less than 1% of the time. B's I give less than 5% of the time. So most of my stuff is going to be in the C and D range, unfortunately. C is going to be, hey, if you want, buy it. D, you don't need to buy it. And F, why was it even made? All right, so very seldom have I had any why was it made in the last time. I would say I have as many F's as I do A's and sometimes even B's. All right, so to get up in the A and B mark, it has to be very, very, very good. And this is a B. Yay! Better than 85% probably of all the other whiskeys I've tried in the last couple of years. Wonderful. But it doesn't, it's still not in the same league here. All right. Good nose. Love the nose. Like the nose a lot. I love the nose. Yeah. I love this nose more. Happy place. Very good. So I'm going to, non-chilled filtered, by the way, which I think is a very, very nice thing as well, which I forgot to mention. So, 1, 2, 3. So it's not any place on the bottle, I think, but it is online that is non-chilled filtered. So they say the aromas, elegant aromas of vanilla and toasted oak, complemented by a touch of lime, succulent green berries, pears, and green sweet pepper. Now, I thought for a very few seconds, what green berries do I eat? I don't know if grapes are green, okay? What other berries? I have a gooseberry, but what other berries do I eat that are green? Don't know. Help me. Light pepper carries on to the taste. Fresh citrus, limes, and mandarin orange sweetness. A hint of cinnamon with vanilla and oak reveals its years spent in American oak. How many years? We don't know. And the finish, the full spectrum of flavor tastes well into the finish, slowly fading to expose the clean American oak foundation. I do admit that there is that American oak foundation there that does stick around a little bit longer on the finish. Solid B. Value for money, more of a C. All right, if you can get it for $179, $265, it's actually D. I would not pay that money for that. I'd go out and buy almost 2 of these rather than 1 of these. Personal opinion. I just love this whiskey so much. Cheers. Happy. What was your happy whiskey? What is your whiskey you go back to time and time again and just go, oh, that's the reason we have whiskey on this world. This stuff is so good. There's a creaminess, there's a viscosity here, there's that fruitiness, the spiciness, the dark chocolate, the wood is there. And it just goes on and on and on. This is something I can smell for 20 minutes, take a sip, 10 minutes later, and take another sip because that flavor profile is just there for so long. Thank you, Midleton, for Redbreast 21. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Midleton Barry Crockett Legacy. Yeah. If you can find it for a decent price, go for it. But don't expect the sherry goodness. Remember, it is that ex-bourbon and unseasoned American oak flavor profile here, and very different, to be honest and to remind you of that. Good. Thank you very much. What is your decadent whiskey? What is the whiskey you always go back to and just feel happy? And what are some of the green fruits you would compare here? That green berries, not green fruit, green berries. Thank you very much. WhiskyJason here. Look at this. Rare and exotic whiskeys. You probably haven't seen a Redbreast 21 for a while, and maybe you've never ever seen a Barry Crockett Legacy 2021 on a video before. Sorry, I do have, in Germany, good access to great bottles, and I did a bottle share with this one, especially this I always have on my list, and people in Germany can actually get a sample. I do not send outside of the borders of Germany, so sorry about that, but that has legal implications as well. Sorry. Thank you for watching, liking, sharing. Put this on some social media and say, look at this crazy guy over in Germany tasting Irish whiskey. Barry Crockett versus 21, both pot still. Yay. All right. See you soon. Bye-bye. WhiskyJason.